Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's Business Spotlight. I'm your host, Todd Rodden. I'm a certified business and executive coach. I own Aspire Action Coach based here in the Dayton, Ohio area, and thrilled to have an inspiring leader who's really helping countless business owners in our region, Sara Bryson, who's the founder and grand Poo-Bah of CFOh Yeah, really a fractional CFO services business. Again, helping countless business owners get to the next level of profitability here in our region. So if you're new to the Spotlight series, we are thrilled to have you join us. And we encourage you to hit subscribe so you can receive future messages from other inspiring, highly knowledgeable leaders like you're going to hear from Sara today. So without further ado, Sara Bryson, Grand Poo-Bah, and founder of CFOh Yeah. Welcome to the Spotlight. Take a minute, tell us a little bit about
Yeah,
your business and who you serve and
absolutely.
why fractional CFO work.
Because it's fun. It's super fun. So I help people understand not only where they are, but why they're there. And more importantly, what they need to do to get to where they want to be. Um, I love doing it. It's super fun. It's so rewarding to see the light bulb when people realize the possibilities that they can achieve. And that's really what it's all about for me is helping business owners.
So
Yeah.
how did you get into the business and when did you start on your own?
It was kind of by accident. I was doing a lot of bookkeeping services and it was great and it was certainly a needed service, but the thing that got me most excited about it was looking at the financial reports and understanding what my clients wanted from the business and seeing, oh, hey, client, did you know if you did this, this, and this instead of these things, you could be here? And I didn't know that that was CFO. I didn't know that the financial strategy was CFO. I just thought it was a fun thing I was doing. And then I talked to someone who's been a CFO for decades and decades, and he said, yeah, that's CFO work. And I said, oh, noted. And so that's when I said, well, then I'm just going to do the part that I have the most fun with. Yeah. And I love working with lots of people. As far as industries, I'm slightly agnostic, but generally speaking, service-based. Anyone who's helping other people, that's totally my jam. I love it. It's fantastic.
Are there certain sizes of
Yeah.
businesses that are kind of in your sweet spot as well?
Sweet spot for me is going to be that small to medium. Maybe they're trying to hit their first million, or maybe they're scaling to 5 or to 10. That sort of seems to be that sweet spot, that small to medium-sized business. The real key is that they want something more. They want to grow.
Okay. Very key, right? They
Oh
don't
yeah.
want the status quo,
No,
right?
if you want status quo, I'm sorry, I'm not your girl.
So as you look around, right, there are other providers out there, like with all of us, right? What do you think separates you and CFOh Yeah from maybe some other, like you mentioned, bookkeeping and other types of support that they
Yeah.
might already have, some line of sight to?
I think what really sets me apart is the fact that I'm not going to talk numbers at you. I'm really going to talk about action steps to take to move you forward. I literally set it up so it's a checklist. I did this. Next step, I did this. Next step, I did this. And so it just continually moves you forward with the actions to get the result rather than, I've talked to so many other CFOs who say, "Oh, you need to increase profit by 30%." And it's like they already kind of knew that.
Yeah.
Questions, how do they do that? And so that's really what sets me apart, I find, as especially as I talk to other people who've worked with different CFOs, is the fact that it's not here's what you should do, it's here's how you do what you need to do.
So kind of building upon that, is there's something else you wish people knew or the market knew about you and your
Oh,
services?
I find especially at this time of year where we're going into a new year, um, people should really be looking at their pricing and taking a deep dive into looking at it because I find so many people are undervaluing their services. And not only are they undervaluing their services, but a lot of people are looking at it as a job rather than a business. And so they're not taking into account the expertise, the time. They're not taking into account that, for example, you may be looking at your costs to provide this service, but did you include your contractors as the cost? Ooh, that might be something you forgot, or maybe you forgot some of your W-2 employee costs in this service. And that's going to completely change your actual costing and how much it costs you to provide that service, and thus how much money you have left over at the end of the day to run your business and to pay yourself.
Hey, maybe building upon that, I'm
Yeah.
curious if you have a client example, right? You don't have to share the name,
Mm.
right, around that, but
Yeah.
where they going through that, they will
Hmm.
identify, major, significant changes in the
Oh
end.
yeah. Oh yeah. So I had a client, and they were having a lot of issues with cash flow. The owners were constantly putting money back into the business. It seemed like they were growing in clients, but they were never growing in profit or in time for themselves. And so I took a look at their numbers and I told them, hey, here are your costs. They thought their costs were 10%. They were a service-based business and they thought their costs were 10% because their supplies were very low. They'd never factored in their employees who did the service. And once you did, their costs went from 10% to almost 80%. And I said, you know what? If you can increase your average sale by under $20, you eliminate all your issues.
Mhm.
So it was a pricing issue. They just were not understanding the actual costs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very eye-opening when you get real about your numbers and then get
Yeah.
real about doing something about it.
And it's just one of those things, you don't know what you don't know, right? They thought their costs were low, and in one area they were. It was just they didn't have the full picture.
So, what have been keys for you for growing the business? Right?
Yeah.
What are the marketing channels that seem to
Hmm.
work? How do you promote the business?
Yeah. For me, it's really people. It's talking to people, having those relationships with people, and just trying to help. I'll talk to a business owner and they're like, "Oh, this is what's going on." And I'm like, "Hey, have you talked to my friend over here?" That's exactly what they do, just making those connections. And then as you make those connections, people make connections back to you. I definitely think if you can serve people in one way or another, it's going to come back to you. And that's been the case for me. 100% of my clients have been referral.
So, how have you built that referral network then?
Just like I said, just talking to people, man. I talk to so many people, like as many as I possibly can. And this didn't happen overnight. I didn't get a large network overnight. I've been networking since pre-COVID. I was networking during COVID. So it was definitely it is a long-term thing, but I still have people I met 5, 6 years ago who reach out to me. So it really is. It depends a bit on your business, of course. For me and for mine, it is very, very one-to-one, very personal. And with that, it is going to be more referral heavy. People aren't going to just Google, find me a CFO. Yeah, if they do and they actually get good results, congratulations. But it's definitely something where you need to have that personal touch and that relationship.
All right, you're several years in now. I'm curious. Um, everyone as a business owner has had some peaks and valleys, some twists and turns in the road.
Oh yeah.
Maybe share a key challenge or two you've had in as you've owned the business, and how'd you
Yeah.
overcome them? What did you learn from those challenges?
Uh, I think the biggest one is probably mindset and just understanding that it's not all roses and sunshine. Being able to persevere through some of those dips. This past year wasn't a very good year for me. And it wasn't a very good year for a lot of people I know in the industry that I'm in. A lot of bookkeepers, a lot of accountants, a lot of CFOs really found that people were not really wanting to give up a whole lot of money, even though they might have needed the service. Um, and so I think just being able to have the mindset that this too shall pass, Just keep doing what works, keep going out, keep helping people, and it will start to turn around.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you do that with the mindset?
Yeah.
I'm curious. That's one thing to
Yeah.
say. How, is there a
It's
daily
that's true.
practice, right? I mean, right?
Well, I think a lot of it helps to track your wins. I think that we get so bogged down in the day to day that we just see, oh, I didn't make as much this month as I did last month, or oh, I had two more clients this month than last month, right? But if you look at your accumulation over time, my idea of success today is not what it was 10 years ago, right? When you
Yeah.
get your first sale and you're like, oh my God, I made $50. This is probably not the same excitement you're going to have for $50 in the next few years. And I think going through and looking at the wins and reminding yourself that it might not be perfectly ideal compared to where you'd like it to be, but it's a lot better than it was 2 years
Yeah.
ago, and it's better than it was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And reminding yourself that you can do this, you have done this. It's just a little quieter time.
Yeah, yeah. Our expectations,
Yeah,
the bar, we raise it as we should.
as we
Right,
should.
right. So building upon that,
Yeah,
what's the current challenge you have in front of you?
yeah,
You look out the front window here and you
yeah,
say, "Hey, this is what I got to solve for in
yeah.
2025."
Right now, I think my biggest challenge isn't so much me as I'm kind of trying to change the industry a bit. So I actually help coach other CFOs to be better CFOs. And the biggest challenge I run into is finding ways to get them to communicate in a way that is going to benefit them and their client. Um, Communication should be transformational, right? I am sharing information with you, you're sharing information with me, and thus we are transforming our relationship and our understanding. And that's how it should be for the financial world as well. I think accountants tend to get into the shorthand of accounting, and we're AP and AR, and we just throw these things around, and our clients are like, what? But if we can take the time and start explaining what we're talking about, then our clients start to understand. And a perfect example is if I were to tell a client, hey, your AR is averaging 100 days. Is that a perfect score? Like, what does this mean, right? But if instead I come and I say, hey, client, did you know that on average it's taking 100 days for you from the time you make the sale till you get paid, but you still have to pay for everything in the meantime? And if it goes past 90 days, you probably won't get paid. Totally different conversation. It's all about how are we talking to people and how are we explaining things to make sure that the information is valuable, is understood, and then is actionable.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
good point. Spot on. So as you look forward, have talked about, hey, the challenge in the next year, but
Yeah.
what's your dream for the business? Your vision longer term, say 5+ years,
Yeah.
whatever down the road. What do you dream of this being?
Oh man, I would love to be able to have like a general base of clients who who I have been able to help their businesses grow beyond anything they ever expected. And at the point where the proceeds that I make allows me to start taking on some pro bono clients. The clients who really they can't afford it, but oh man, they need it. I would love to be at a point where I'm comfortable enough with my client load, with the amount of money coming in and the time I'm spending, where I can say, hey, yeah, let me take you on. Let me give you this for 6 months or a year
Mhm.
to make sure that you can have that transformation as well. Yeah, that'd be that'd be fantastic.
Okay, really
Not
giving
there
back.
yet.
Yeah, giving back and helping the cause. Do you have
Yeah.
any thoughts or dreams around kind of expanding out the team around this and kind of,
I'm still waffling on that, There's a part of me that's like, that sounds amazing, and then there's a part of me that says, that doesn't sound amazing. So, and I think that's a really difficult question for everyone
yeah.
to take on is, do I want to? Because things are going to change completely. How am I going to bring people on? How many? And how does that look for the service? And right now, the answer is I just want it to be me, But 5 years from now, there might be enough people out there that I can say, hey, I'm going to give you a CFO who does this the way I do.
Yeah.
That could be really cool.
Okay. Down the road. So again, you've worked with countless businesses now, and you've been at this for a few years now.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
what would be your keys to success, and what would you want to share
Yeah.
with other entrepreneurs who are starting out?
Yeah.
Hey, what you wish you knew then that you know now, kind of thing.
You can never plan enough. You will make, if you're like me, you love to be able to have your checklist, you like to list everything. There will always be surprises. The world will always surprise you. The market will surprise you. Who saw COVID and the way that it completely changed the world and business, right? So I think for me specifically, it really just kind of embracing the change and the fact that it will change and that's okay. You just adjust and move forward. That was really for me the biggest sort of mindset shift from this and this is that and this is that. You can't control it. You just have to accept it and move with it.
Yeah. Embrace it and go. All right. Find the
Embrace and
opportunities.
go.
So I'm always curious what
Yeah,
folks, where you seem passionate about growing and learning. You talked a lot around mindset. So
yeah,
is there a podcast you listen to or some other leadership, or is there a book that's really stood out to you that's really
yeah.
resonated?
There is a book. It's fantastic. I actually have it right here. It's called Built to Sell. And it is awesome because it's not going to tell you, here are the numbers and here's what you need to do here. It's not going to bore you to tears.
There's plenty
It's
of
an actual,
those.
there are plenty of them, and if you would love them, fantastic. But I think this is really the way to do it is it's a story. It's a story of following somebody's journey as they're learning about a business and why it's fantastic and how it works. And I would just say read something like this and see if it jives with you because it's a quick read. It's not very thick, like this is like an afternoon, right? Um, and it really has some fantastic tips and points in it that I think can help a lot of people.
Good pointers there. So as we look to wrap up here, our time flies. What are the best ways for folks to stay connected with you and to follow what's happening with CFOh Yeah?
Sure. Uh, Pop by my LinkedIn, check it out, give a follow, give a connect. I post on there typically at least once a week, sometimes a little bit more. I like to give some information. I did a whole series, like posting every day in September, October, of literally giving you tips and tricks on each part of your business's finances, revenue, profit, cash flow, and start troubleshooting them and how to improve them. Like literally, depending on each one that's giving you trouble, there's a post about it. And I like to help people out, right? Ask me a question. I'll answer it if I can.
Great. Yeah, great to give those tips. All right, to folks through the LinkedIn channel. So encourage folks to check that out. So final question, we wrap up.
Yeah.
Sarah, what are you inspired by today?
Today, today I am inspired by sunshine. We are in Ohio and it's winter time and it is sunshiny and I love sunshine and so I'm stoked for sunshine because it means spring is a coming. It's
Okay.
on the way.
All right. And I love that mindset because you didn't bother going into what the temperature is, even though it's sunny. All right. But you
We do
find the
not speak of
positive.
that.
You embrace it. All right. You embrace it, as you said. All right. Well, thank you so much, Sarah. Appreciate you sharing
Hey,
your
Todd.
story, your lessons
Yeah.
learned. Right? So again, to our viewers, again, we're thrilled to have Sara Bryson of CFOh Yeah here with us. We're thankful for you joining us as well, viewers, and we encourage you to hit the like button so we can amplify the message here, but also, as I mentioned before, hit subscribe so you can receive future messages from other inspiring leaders like you heard from Sara Bryson today. So with that, we thank you all, and we hope you all have a terrific day.